Yeah, so hi everyone. This is our ninth College Talk Tuesday. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Today's topic is equipping yourself for your first year of college. And you'll notice pretty soon what we mean by equipping, but we're not necessarily talking about getting ready in terms of your academic level, but just actually having the tools and supplies that you need to succeed during your first year. And a couple of to-dos that you want to take care of during the summer before you start school. So here's our agenda. We're going to go ahead and get started with orientation days, how those work for colleges, registration for your courses that start in the fall, the importance of having your health records updated and submitted to your college. And then I'll be going into where to find your books for your first term of classes, what's sort of supplies you will need, and then also if you're going to be living on campus, how you can prepare for that and what kind of supplies you will want to have for that.
So most universities and community college, well, I would say probably all of them, I shouldn't say most, all of them have some type of an orientation that students go to either right before starting school, like the week before. Some of them have like a welcome week, or some of them have like a 2-day orientation, as is the case for Oregon State. And usually that's done on campus. But unfortunately this year, in response to the pandemic, there's only going to be virtual start sessions. So this is the page that you can get information on the virtual start session at Oregon State. And all I did was go in and the search bar up here and typed in student orientation. So here's where you will virtually register for your virtual start. So if you click on here, and then it will go through all of the things that you can expect at start. So before you go to start, first you're going to register your ONIT account. You're going to apply for on-campus housing. You have to pay your advanced tuition deposit, and all of these links explain how to do those things and where to do it. So you just click on them and it'll take you right to those places. And then once you've done all that, you get to pick your virtual start. And I haven't really been able to go in, and it probably says here. So you're going to do pre-advising, advising, and course registration at start. And also, if you decide that you want to be a degree partnership program, you can register for that during start. You'll meet your advisor. Like I said, you'll register for courses, and you can ask all kinds of questions and learn about the university and all the things that you can expect when you get there. So start is required. And like I said, you must pay your advanced tuition deposit before registering for start. And I know that OSU's made it very clear that if you pay your advanced tuition deposit, register for start, and then things don't turn out how you expect them to for fall, you are going to still be able to get your money back if you decide not to attend this fall by September 1st. Then they will return your money. So they still want you to go ahead and do all of that. And everyone, they're planning on having classes at this point in person. If the class is 50 or less, and if the class is 50 or more, it will be an online class. That's just for now. And we all know that those things are changing daily. So that's basically how the orientation works for Oregon State. And the other campuses, when I was pulling them up, they look very, very similar, but each one's a little bit different. And again, if you aren't attending Oregon State, you can go to your campus website, go to the search button, I put in new student orientation. You can also click on new student next steps. And this is another really great site for Oregon State University. I just pulled it up on the Cascade site just for something different, but they will take you through your first steps, your next steps for first year students. Sorry, I'm getting my words all messed up. So basically the same thing, register your ONID, pay your advanced tuition deposit, register for Duo, which is a 2-step verification to get into your student records, and all students are going to be required to do that. So if you haven't done that and you're an OSU student, you can do that. Obviously, most people have signed up for and applied for financial aid long ago, but it is one of the steps if you haven't done it. Apply for other scholarship opportunities through Scholar Dollars, on-campus housing. Again, everybody probably has been well on their way with that. We're going to talk about this a little bit later. Uploading your immunization records, a campus visit, which isn't possible, but there's all sorts of virtual tours on most websites as well. And then don't forget to get your transcripts sent. That's another one from your high school or any community colleges that you may have attended during high school. Get those things sent off and take your math. I have a lot of students ask the question, if I took college level classes while I was in high school, do I still have to take a math placement test? And the answer is yes. At Oregon State, you do have to take the math placement test, whether you have college level courses in high school or not. But here's the deal. No matter how you do on your placement test, they will still let you take the next class in your series if you have college credits already. So for example, let's say you've taken Math 111 and Math 112 and you're ready to go on to the next math class, but for some reason on your math placement test, you didn't do so well and it said you need to take Math 111. They will still respect that you've had 11 and 12 and let you take the next class that you are signed up for. This is just a way for you to kind of see where you're at.
Okay, so now we're going to go into student account. So Jennifer, if you want to take over remote control, I'll get us started. So to go into most of your student portal, you can just type in my.oregonstate.edu. And then from there, you'll have a sign-in process, which mine might already be complete. And then this is where the Duo that Jennifer referenced is important. So after I type in my username and password, it will have a Duo process that then I accept with an app on my phone. And I want to go over to the student dashboard and pass it over to Jennifer.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about a few things on here. Mostly trying to get into uploading your immunization record and filling out your health records, but we also wanted to look at, like, for example, here you will, and we're not exactly sure if your dashboard is going to look exactly like Jeff's, because actually Jeff was supposed to give us a little overview of what type of a student he is right now. So I'll let him do that.
I'm going to do that now too. Yes. So I am also a student at Oregon State. So I'm in a graduate program in the College of Education. So my dashboard might look a tiny bit different, being not an undergraduate anymore. And I'm in the PhD program for the College of Education.
Yes, very cool. So anyway, yours is going to look somewhat similar, I'm assuming, because I do know that they've been changing the dashboard lately, and I haven't had the chance to see actual students as of, let's see, a couple months ago. Yeah, so anyway, I wanted to just go over a few of the tabs in this section to help you guys out when you are going to university. And if you're not at OSU, you will have some type of a student dashboard that's going to look somewhat similar, but probably a little obviously different. But all of these same features are usually in the student dashboard, depending on which university that you're going to. And you kind of just need to go in and start just looking around and clicking on things. That's what I encourage students to do, just to kind of see where everything is. So in this one, we're just in an overview. Then there's the academics piece, finances. And I think in the student dashboard, like if you're not a graduate student like Jeff, there's going to even be like a new student tab usually, or a student tab. So depending, like I said, these are all going to look a little bit different. But one of the questions I always get is, how do I pay my bill? And that is in your student dashboard, and you can click on pay my bill. And it's going to, again, just give you a bunch of information on how to do that. So there's a login for your parent or another authorized users. So Jeff would just have to authorize them to go in and be able to log in as well. So a parent can log in and pay as well. And yeah, so this is just kind of how it goes.
Jennifer, you're welcome to go in there if you want to show
Okay. log in with your ONID. So that's what Jeff would do again, is go ahead and log in with his ONID, which we just talked about.
Because there are several of these screens as you go in. It's kind of interesting because all of these dashboards look a little, or as you go in from the dashboard, a lot of these screens look a little bit different. They're a little bit unique. So
Yeah.
once you're into the pay your bill, it's another screen. And if you were to pay with a credit card, it would take you again to another payment site, as many of us are used to when we're navigating online commerce.
Yep. And you can even set up auto bill pay. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do here. So just kind of go in and look at your options. You can make deposits, you can set up a payment plan, you know, all of those things. So there's just different things you can do here. And again, remember, if you have questions, please ask them in the chat, or if you want to go over this one-on-one with one of our coordinators, we're happy to do that with you as well. So be sure that you get the help that you need. So anyway, it's good to look at all these things and then go into them. So I wanted to show you that from this page. I also wanted to show you My Degrees really quick, because this is something that students really find helpful, sorry, not successful, but help you be successful. Now it's a student view. So this is what he sees as a student. And it's going to go through and it's going to tell him exactly what classes he's taken, and also what classes he still needs to take. So this is telling him his requirements still needed. He must complete all of the following. So this is what he has left to take in his program. And then down below, it'll tell all the classes that he has taken, the grades that he received, and all of that. So this is a really great way to keep up with what classes you still need to take and what classes you have taken. And I encourage students to check on this often. We talked about this before in other College Talk Tuesdays, but I'm going to reiterate again that you and you alone are the one that's the most responsible for making sure you get the classes that you need and you take the right classes, because your advisors are going to do the best job they can, but they have a whole boatload of students that they meet with, and sometimes there are oversights, unfortunately. So it's really important that you learn how to navigate through these systems and can keep on top of things yourself. And your advisors are great, don't get me wrong, but again, it is ultimately your job to make sure that you're taking the correct classes that you need. So this is a kind of the place that you're going to do that. And of course, right now you won't have anything in there except for if you've declared a major. You could actually go into My Degrees right now, and it's going to tell you all the classes that you need for that major. And so you can kind of go in and start thinking about, oh, I'd like to take these maybe fall term, these winter term, these spring term. Because when you do meet with your advisor, if you kind of have your own plan, that's okay. And they're going to help you decide if that plan works best or not. Because this is another really important thing we were supposed to talk about tonight is during START, you will do this process with an advisor virtually. So it's going to be kind of probably the same way as this, but this is how you add your classes, or if you need to make changes. So maybe you get into like 2 days of classes and you think this schedule just doesn't work for me, I need to switch some things around. You can go in and actually, search for classes, change classes up. This is Jeff showing you how to find, different classes. So he could he could either register or add it to his worksheet, and then it will show him what it looks like at the end. And it kind of helps you to see what days and times classes are. You can kind of play with things and see what classes, like I said, you want to take which term. This is a great way to find out when they're offered. So, and right here's a great example, animal science class. Here's all the options of when you can take it. Now, some of them, do they have on here, Jeff, a lab? Oh yeah, it says lecture. The LEC over here, it means it's a lecture. So a lot of times with these classes, you have to choose two. So you're going to choose your lecture. So let's say we're going to do lecture Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8 a.m. And then we can pick any of the labs to go with it if they're available. Another lecture time is, where's another lecture? Oh yeah, right there. Thank you, Jeff. Another one at 8 a.m. This class would have not been my favorite because you had to take it at 8. Anyway, I'm just teasing, but Then that's just kind of how that works. And then,
You can pull up one more.
yeah, do math maybe, because everybody's got to take math. Yep. So there's your math classes. Let's go ahead. Yeah, 111. So this is a huge class, and these are harder to get into. They fill up faster because everyone has to take it. And
so on here, you're going to have labs and then recitations. And so recitations, the best way to describe that would be like an opportunity, I guess, like a practicum session of the class, chance to work with someone else in a smaller setting instead of a larger classroom. You'd be down in a smaller setting to work on that in recitation. So you would choose both. You would choose a lecture and a recitation.
yep, just like the labs with the animal science.
Yep.
So
Sometimes there is a
again-
lab and a recitation.
Yeah, some of them there are. Yep. And that'd be more with your like 5 credit classes, right? 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of where you do that. You add your register, you can add and drop your classes. So again, sometimes you get going and you're into the first week of classes and you decide this schedule just feels too tight to me. This is where you can go back and do some changing around. And I don't believe, and Jose can correct me or whoever if I'm wrong, but to do that, you do not have to have your advisors. Once you're registered for classes, they have to give you approval to register, but once you're registered, you can go in and add and drop classes without their being there with you. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. Although for the first time registering, I'm not sure if
Yeah.
OSU does this, but most of the colleges that I've seen is they usually have to check in with their advisor first for that
Yeah.
first set of courses.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works with OSU as well. At least the
Yeah,
last.
so the students on here can expect to first meet with their advisor and talk about the courses that they'll be taking. And then after that term, you have a lot more leeway and freedom to pick and choose as you will, because you're kind of going to do it on your own. But in the first time, it's going to be with an advisor.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. So let's see, what else were we going to cover? Oh yeah, health records and stuff. A student health portal. And you'll see here after Jeff logs in that you can actually make appointments and do all sorts of things with the student health services right through this. And this is a really important web page as well, just because if you're feeling sick or you need to just talk to someone, if you're struggling with anything, this is where you can make your appointments to do that. So here on the left-hand side, you will see all kinds of stuff. And we kind of decided that Jeff didn't have quite as many things here because he's not actually an on-campus student. So to actually be able to attend Oregon State, you will have to upload your immunizations, and that's where you're going to go. And to first get into the portal, you're going to have to get approved, and that's just by clicking a button. And Jeff hasn't had to do any of that stuff, but I'm pretty sure that that's how it's going to work for you when you log into your portals. And then once you get there, this can be a little bit tougher to do. So if you run into any issues, please, again, make sure that you just get in touch with your coordinator and they can help you go through these steps. So, but this is kind of where you're going to fill out all of your information for health records and get set up to go to OSU. So though, I think there's also a health history form that you have to fill out besides the immunizations form. So, but again, this is just a great place to just start looking around. Get into your student dashboard, just start clicking on tabs and looking where to find things and get yourself oriented with all of the different tabs. If we had time, we'd go through each of them, but also Jeff was going to show you financial aid again one more time really quick.
Yeah, just quickly.
Yeah.
So that you can see what
It looks like.
what an award letter looks like. So we came in through financial aid, and then when you get into the award offer, you can see that there are loans here that if I wanted to take out, that they showed up here from the FAFSA, and so I can either accept all, decline all, or modify. And so maybe after, as we saw in my other screen, you saw how much money there was still owed on that account. So maybe I want to modify this to not be the full amount, but to be more like what was owed on the account. and then that would pay the bill if I wanted to do it that way. But we would suggest that when there are grants and scholarships that you accept all of those. So this would be
For
for
sure.
loans.
You can leave your loans open so that maybe by spring term you actually need some money, and you can kind of calculate how much you need, and that's where you would go in and modify, because you might not need the total 19,000. So don't take 19,000. Wait till you need money. Try to calculate, because the way I understand it, once you modify and accept, then that's what your loan is for that year. So don't take just $2,000 if you think you're going to need $6,000, because then your loan will be for $2,000. And then you're going to be like, Fred, where am I going to get the other $4,000? I still needed that from the loan. So make sure that you know what your final amount that you're going to need before you modify your loan. But also don't take the full amount if you don't need to.
Because this was showing for all 3 terms.
Yeah, and so you're only allowed 6,000 for fall term, 6,400 for winter. So yeah, that's how it kind of works.
Okay, so we've gone over course registrations, health records. Now we're going to go into the actual material things that you can do to help you get started for that first year. So once you're registered for classes, you're probably going to want to make sure that you're equipped with the books that you're going to need for your courses. And usually the courses themselves will say what books you need, or you can go onto your college's bookstore online and check what books are assigned to that individual course. I will tell you now that it's very different in college than it is in high school. You don't just go to the library and borrow the books. Not like I'll explain that a little bit more about how the library works. But for your actual course textbooks, you're going to have to purchase them, and they can get pretty expensive. So I'm not just trying to scare you. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of dose of reality. Is that as a college student, you're going to have to go out and actually purchase your books. And there's a couple different ways you can go about it. But the first one that I want to show you is actually an example of how I would do it if I were an OSU student. So I'm going to go ahead and show you my browser. And let me get this out of the way. Here I am on OSU's like Beaver Store, but for the textbooks part of it. So I'm showing you just a random course that I just selected, and it showed me the name of the book that it would be required for Anthropology 240, the author's name, the ISBN number, and it tells me this is required. Sometimes it'll say it's optional. Definitely get the ones that are required, and then maybe wait to hear from the professor whether or not you really need the optional ones or not, or whether you want to get them. And then further below, it'll show me what some of my options are through the OSU Beaver Store. So it'll tell me this book right there is $71.50 used, and then $102 new. That's from the Beaver Store. It also provides me options for an ebook version of that book, which you can see from here it's substantially a lot less expensive. And then it also gives you a couple of other options from websites online. Oh, it does have Amazon. I wasn't sure if I was going to include that. But you can also do some digging of your own. And so every college is going to have a site kind of like this. And the way it works, and just to give you a quick demo, is you'll go onto that site, you'll select the term that you're going to look for books in. Oh, interesting. Okay, there we go. You'll select the department. So let's say I was looking for a math book. So I'm going to look up math. And let's say it was Math 111, which is pretty typical for a freshman. And then here's the professors that are offering that book. And then the course, I think that's the number for it. So the section of it. So then once that's selected, you click on compare prices. And then again, here's the name of the book. Here's the ISBN number. This is information you can use to look the books up at other pages if you wanted to. It tells you the price. One of the things I can recommend is definitely shop around, look online. I know that as the younger generation of folks, we are super resourceful in looking for our options online. And so one of the websites that I remember using a lot as a student myself was Chegg.com. Chegg was a website that you could buy and sell books from, and you could find reduced prices. I think since then, Amazon has really taken over for a lot of book sales. But at the time, there was also BookBite, which would buy and sell books as well. And they actually are out of Salem. So I think Mason said he was from Salem. This, if you're ever in the South Salem part of town, they actually have it's like a distribution center, but you can actually go into their office and sell your books there. So that's actually a really good option if you are trying to save money on textbooks and you're done using a book and you don't have any interest in keeping it any longer. It's probably in your best interest to sell it. And some of those sites will actually give you pretty decent offers for the books. You can always try to sell it back to your college's store as well. So keep that in mind. eBay, you might have some luck with, and Amazon. But another option might be a student book exchange. A lot of colleges have a program where students can register the books that they own that they're trying to get rid of or sell. And also they can log what books they're looking for. And you can cross-reference that and maybe sell your book to another student or even buy a book from another student. And that tends to be a little bit more affordable because students will sell their books for a little bit more than what the bookstore will buy it from them for, but they will also pay less than they would have to pay one of these sites or the bookstore. So keep that in mind, look into that option if you're in your second or third term or more. And then also look into social media. I remember as a student myself, just going on social media because I had a lot of my college friends on there and I would say, hey, I'm done with my Math 252 textbook. I'm willing to sell it for 40 bucks if someone wants it. Or ask if anyone has the Psychology 201 book that I'm looking for and if they're willing to sell it to me or let me borrow it or whatever. That can be a really great way to save money because, like I said, college textbooks can get pretty expensive. And like I've already mentioned, college library resources become your library's best friend because they will be your best friend if you make good use of the resources that they have to offer. And it's not always just technology for academics. A lot of times they also offer like DVD rentals for movies. They'll offer you like to check out even video game consoles, projectors, just a long list of different things that you can use. And it doesn't always have to be just for academics. So keeping that in mind, other supplies you'll probably want to have handy before you go back to classes is three ring binders, paper, number 2 pencils, black ink pens, red ink pens, because some courses are the professors get kind of picky with what you're writing with. You'll want to have dividers, a backpack to carry your stuff in. And then here's one that I think is kind of unique, but I'm serious when I say this: a scooter, a bike, or a skateboard, especially like campuses like OSU or U of O. They're large campuses, and getting from point A to point B across campus can take a long time. So for a lot of students, it's very convenient to have one of those to get you to your destination a little quicker. And with that, obviously, like a helmet and whatever other safety gear you might need. Staplers, highlighters, sticky notes, paper clips, you name it, the sort of thing that's going to help you get through your classes. Okay, so up next is technology. You will likely want to have a laptop or some form of computer. I know some students are using tablets now, but that doesn't mean you need to get the most expensive computer out there. For most uses, students will need to use the typical Word document program like Microsoft Office Word or even Google Docs, although it's not the most ideal one because sometimes it's a little bit limited in options. Excel, PowerPoint, or any of the Google Suite programs. if you're going to be going into a career that requires a little bit more processing power, like maybe some of the engineering programs or video design or video editing, that kind of stuff, it's likely that your department will have computers that are capable of running that kind of program. And so you could always rely on that. But if you want to have some handy, I mean, it all depends on what kind of degree you're going to go into. But my recommendation is don't go out and buy the most expensive computer out there. Try to be somewhere more in the middle of the road with that kind of thing. Um, Calculators, a TI-84 is a pretty good calculator that's going to last you probably for all of your college career. Just because if you do get to a certain level of math that requires graphing, those calculators can handle that. But also just know that if you only need it for a term, with computers and calculators and just technology in general, there's a lot of computer labs around campus, most colleges that you can have access to during certain hours. And then there's also programs that allow you to borrow a laptop or borrow a calculator and use it for a certain amount of time before you return it. So just keep that in mind if you're feeling kind of tight on money and you feel like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to need this so long, like a calculator, if I only need it for a term. Just know that there are some college programs that will allow you to borrow like a calculator, for example. A mobile device, I put that in there just because nowadays it's so useful to make sure, like to have that communication via text and to have a mobile browser on your device and to be able to keep your calendar on there as like a planner. I know that when I started college, I wasn't actually keeping a paper planner with all my my schedules for classes and all my other commitments. I was actually just using my calendar, and that calendar took care of all of that. So a mobile device can come in really handy if you have one going into college. In addition to all of that, though, is if you're going to be going to campus and living there, there's a pretty long list of things you're going to need. But here I just put the main things you'll probably want to make sure you put on your list. And feel free to take a picture of the screen here or a screenshot. So definitely clothes for all locations and seasons. You have to keep in mind, especially if you're going to be living far away from your parents or from home, is that you're going to be there through various seasons. And living in Oregon, you know that it could be raining on the same day as warm. It could be really nice and warm in the morning and then raining in the evening. So make sure you have clothing that's going to be good for warm weather and cold weather and all sorts of occasions. You want to bring anything that you normally use at home for personal hygiene, your toothbrush, your toothpaste, your shampoo, all that kind of stuff, your soap, your towels, and then also stuff to do on your free time. Whatever you do at home, just, things you might miss from being away, bring with you. You are allowed to have a TV, board games, your headphones, because you also have to keep in mind, you're going to be living in a residence hall in a small space. I included a picture of a generic dorm room right there because it's most likely that you'll be sharing a space. And that's why I put headphones in there because noise can become a big issue, not just for your roommate, but also for your neighbors. So keep that in mind. Also, bed sheets, pillows, blankets, laundry baskets, hamper detergent, all those sorts of things just to take care of washing your clothes and that kind of stuff. Snacks can come in really handy to have in your dorm. And with that also a mini fridge. I put question marks on it because some colleges are actually now including a mini fridge and a microwave in the dorm rooms. I don't know if OSU's dorms have that or if some of them have it, but I know when I started college, I had to bring my own with my roommate, and then 2 years later, all the rooms included one. So that might be something to look into if you're going to want to have a little mini fridge in your dorm. A fan can come in really handy, especially if you're living in an older building on a higher floor, just because that heat rises, and a lot of times those dorm rooms can get really warm. and toasty. So having a fan and being able to open the windows can be really, really helpful. And just room decor, just to make it feel like home. I included a picture there. I'm pretty sure it's just they're all posing, but it's really nice to be able to make your room feel like somewhere where you want to actually spend time with and relax, and make it more personalized. Yeah, just be ready for all sorts of weather. This in the valley, this part of Oregon, you're just gonna get all seasons in a day. So just be prepared for that. Um, so some of the places I recommend checking out would be like Bed Bath and Beyond. I know they have a lot of great products for college students. So if you ever wanted to just check out their website, the beds in the dorms they're twin, but they're also a little bit longer than the twin. So just to make sure that your sheets are going to fit, keep in mind, I think a lot of times they're called twin XL or twin. There's another name for them.
Extra long. Yep. Extra long.
Long. Yeah.
Yep.
So definitely keep that in mind, and a hamper or a laundry basket can come in super handy. And then just keep in mind any personal needs that you would have to bring anything that you need. Like I know my roommate had a ton of shoes, and that actually became a problem for us because he would take we set up our beds like bunk beds, but then there was no space underneath the bed to store things because his shoes took up all the space. So it became sort of a sore topic for us, and eventually he bought something he could put on his closet doors where you could actually organize it, shoes and just little things like that. If um, there's something particular about you that might become an issue, or just that you need to help organize, keep that in mind, because you're going to be sharing that space. Cleaning supplies just to clean the surfaces in your room, that can come in really handy. So yeah, I don't know how much the situation that we're in right now with COVID is going to change living on campus. I know that currently they're talking about having single use rooms, so like one person per room. But that could change. So just keep that in mind if you do end up having a roommate. Oh, I think they're called caddies, like a little bathroom caddy too can come in really handy if because you're going to be going out of your dorm room to go to like shower. So make sure that you have something to carry your shampoo, your soap, scrub, your toothpaste, your toothbrush, that kind of stuff. It can come in really handy to just grab that and be able to go to the bathroom. And some restrooms in the college dorms also have their own lockers, so you can keep stuff in there, but some don't. So just keep that in mind.